Hi guys, welcome back. So we have a book video for you. I have Goodreads pulled up, so I have all of my list as well as my pile because my list is longer than my pile. This is going to be September's wrap up. I think I did okay in September. If you include my rereads, I did really good. I have hit my goal, which was 75 books. I'm at like 79 now. And I'll tell you what book my 75th book was as soon as we get to it. Anyways, I figured I would start off. I don't have like actual, let's find out, hold on. 13 books total for the month, 9 books that are new, and then 4 books that were old. Rereads? Yay, rereads. Okay. So the first book on my list of books that I've read this month was Hook, Line, and Sinker. This is the second book to Tessa Bailey's duology. I don't know what they call it. The first one was It Happened One Summer. It was really cute. Just like It Happens One Summer, it is complete fluff, cute, adorable romance. I think I gave it 4 stars. I never remember what I give these books. So yeah, 4 stars. But I liked it a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to trying something else by Tessa Bailey. I've only ever read these 2 books, so I don't have a large frame of reference, but I would like to read more eventually. Okay, the second book that I read was A River Enchanted. This is part of a duology called the Cadence Cycles or something like that. The second book is A River Endless, which I had to look it up because I can't remember. And that one is my current read, my current audiobook read. So far I like it a lot. It's about this bard who comes back home to a magical island. Half the island has his people on it and half the island has another clan, and they've been warring forever. So his clan has a lot of food and rich products, but using magic really drains them, whereas the other side has plenty of magic and not enough food. And instead of working together, they war against each other. So this is the first one in the duology. I gave it 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. I didn't realize how long it was until I pulled out my copy. It's like 500 pages because it was with my endless supply of book of the month that are already over there. I did just start the second one. I'm liking it so far. It took a hot minute to get the audiobook for the second one because I have a hard time reading in real books, as you will find out as we go through these lists. All right, the next book that I read was my 75th book for the year, and it's Den of Vipers. It took me 3 months to read it. I gave it 2 stars. And that was redeeming because the beginning was really good and the end was really good. It was the 400 pages of smut with no plot in the middle that wasn't for me. It's about this woman who was sold off to, for all intents and purposes, a gang, mafia family, to pay off his debts. And he apparently, this group, this 4 guys, apparently falls for her because she's a Spitfire, and it's their sexual journey over the course of this 600 and something page book that I read physically. 2 stars. Because the end was really cute and sweet. 2 stars. All right, the next book that I read was this one. I read The Kingdom of the Curse, which is the second book in the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy. And I really enjoyed the first one, so I went ahead and read the second one. The second one was still just as good. So it's about this girl who is a twin, and her twin is brutally murdered. And when she does a summoning spell to find out who killed her and why, it summons a demon or a prince of hell. And it's their story while she figures out who she really is, what happened to her sister, why she was able to even do the magic to get the Prince of Hell. I don't want to give anything away because I read the whole thing now and I don't even remember this book from the second book. All I can tell you is that if you don't like smut, don't read these books. I was expecting maybe a little fade to black, maybe a little like tension because they're YA books. No, they're not YA books. If you are a no-go when it comes to reading any book that has smutty content in it, don't read these ones. But if you like magic, you don't mind smut, you don't mind having a younger protagonist in her late teens, early 20s. I think she was 20 years old during all this. I can't remember for sure. But if you don't mind talks of, you know, hell and demons and magic, and if you do, those things do bother you, then I don't know why you're on my channel, because you know that's half of what I read, because I really like that kind of content. These were really good books. I definitely think these ones were better than her Jack the Ripper series, which I really, really did not like. And I'm looking forward to reading her new series, which is based in the same world, but not with the same characters. I'm assuming that there will follow a different Prince of Hell. These ones are about wrath. And I think I heard the next one's about envy. Now my trilogy is done and I can put the box set back together. I really liked them. I think I gave them 4 stars respectively, and we can really check that right now. Oh, I gave 5 stars to the Kingdom of the Cursed, and then the Kingdom of the Fear I gave 4 stars. So they were really high praise books for me. I really, really enjoyed them. All right, the next book that I read was this one. This one is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Guess what? I read it physically with my eyeballs. I am curious to check out the audiobook because there is 2 more books. There is a novella that goes between these, which you're sitting on right now. And then there's a second book, which is downstairs. But I was really liking it. It kind of sucks reading it with your best friend who is sitting next to you going, oh, the whole time. And then you're watching TikTok and accidentally see a spoiler when they're talking about different tropes they like. But overall, I liked it a lot. It is a vampire book. It's about this girl who was raised with the king of vampires in this kingdom that she's in. They have this competition, and if you win the competition, you get a wish from Nexia. And so this book is about her going through this competition. But I was a little bit stressed by the end, and I have not started the next part of the book series yet. Will I? Yes. Will I write the second? I don't know. I don't know, but I did like it. I'm just a little bit concerned because my best friend has read the second one, and I got to watch her go through a range of emotions, which from interested to annoyed to bawling her eyes out. So that worries me. And if she's watching this, hi Nikki. The next book that I read, I'll put here. I read Counting the Cost by Jill Duggar. I do not rate nonfiction books because I don't think it's fair to rate someone's personal accounts. I would really be interested to see what the rest of the kids would say if they had not signed an NDA. It goes through a lot of the money side of being a Duggar and how Jim Bob didn't pay any of his kids until she started making an issue out of it. And once she started making an issue out of it, he offered all the Duggar kids, or most of the Duggar kids, like $80,000 to sign an NDA that they're not allowed to talk bad about him or the family. And in return, they got $80,000. Jill did not sign the NDA, but it sounds like most of the kids, if not all of them, that were offered this did. which makes me really wonder what actually went on in that house, because she was trying to be as delicate as possible, and she really, really tried hard not to throw any of her family under the bus. But it was definitely obvious that Jim Bob is even more of a tool than I already thought he was. I mean, I thought he was a tool from the get-go because of how his kids behaved. I don't know if it was just an act or if it was something sinister, and the more I read into them, the more I'm like, it's something sinister. So I've been listening to Digging Up the Duggars podcast, and we're like on episode 10 or 11 or something, so because me and Pat listened to it together, and he hasn't been home, so we haven't been listening to it very much, but we did get it through a couple more episodes of the podcast this week. And it's really interesting to hear all the things that everybody else has been digging up about them as well, because I only have so much information. I only have the happy smiling faces, this book, because I did not read any of the other ones, because any of the other ones, like it's not Jessa, is it Ginger's book that talks about the church and why they're no longer part of the church, but doesn't talk about the family at all, because it's seen as, you know, part of the NDA not to talk about the family. And so she doesn't talk about the family, she just talks about the church experience. And I haven't read that one because of it, at least not yet. But the Digging Up the Duggars is filling in some blanks, and this filled in some blanks. And so it was really interesting to see how that family runs, and how Jim Bob basically pimped out his own daughter, and it backfired because they ended up having a very happy marriage. And what is his name? Like, I was Dillard in my head. Derek Dillard, that's it. That Derek really was a huge advocate for Jill standing up for herself and getting paid for all the work that she put in on the show. And so I liked it a lot. Like I said, I don't really rate books that I read as nonfiction, but I liked it. I listened to the audiobook because Jill reads it herself. All right, the next book that I read, I'll put here. I read it physically. I'm getting better at this, in one day. It is a short book, but I read it in one day. It's called Womb. It's my first splatterpunk. It's really gross. It is really weird. Nikki has pictures of me making really disgusted faces while reading it, and I also bursted out laughing, and laughed quite literally hysterically for a small chunk of that book. I don't know what I rated it. I did not rate it. That's why I didn't know what I rated it. I did not rate it. Because how do you rate a splatterpunk about the womb? It was so gross. Not scary. I know it's splatterpunk's a type of horror. It's not scary at all. It's just really gross. And it's stupid. I don't have very many triggers, and there's one part that is supposed to be super, super disgusting, and I laughed hysterically through the whole thing because it was so funny to me. But this book has so many trigger warnings. Like, if you are squeamish at all, don't read this. If SA is an issue, don't read it. If prostitution is an issue, don't read it. I mean, the sex worker in the book was awesome. I loved her. But yeah, there's so much. There's so much. But if you want an extremely wild time that will potentially really gross you out, and you want a short, fast read Womb. I don't know how else to describe this book without giving it away. I figured it out faster than Nikki did. So she's sitting next to me while I'm reading it, and she had read it like a year prior, exactly a year prior, which we figured out at the end when I was done that she had read it exactly 1 year prior to when I read it. So I read it like September 23rd or something, and she read it the year before. And so she's watching me go through this play of emotions about this book, and she's laughing at me, and I am torn between being disgusted and laughing hysterically. It's weird. The part that bothered me and grossed me out the most was the little excerpt of him throwing up at the beginning, because that bothers me. I don't do throw up. That's just that's a no-go for me. But the rest of the book, my daughter called in the middle of it and she was annoying me because she wouldn't get off the phone, so I started reading it to her. She hung up pretty fast. I'm trying to get my son to read it because I think that he'll really, really like it, because he likes that really weird stuff. I don't know how to describe this book. All I can tell you is this is my current physical read. I have been reading it for like a week and a half, and I'm only on page 84. Why? Because womb has taken up residency in my brain and won't leave. Someone please read it. Please, for me, read it. I want to know what other people think of it, because so far it's just me and Nikki, and I want to know what somebody else thinks of this book. So please read it for me. And tell me if you laughed. Tell me if you were horrified. Tell me if you were grossed out. And then the way the whole book ends, you're just, I don't know. Okay, I'm moving on, because I could do an entire video on that book alone. Like, really, I could totally do a whole book on that book, a whole video on that book just by itself. Okay. The last book that I read for September that was a new read was La Hacienda. Really good. This is my kind of haunted house book. I really, really liked it. There was a book that I read, I think it was a Riley Sager book that I read that was like a haunted house, and I didn't like how it ended. But this ended the way that I was hoping that one would, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Really, really good. I liked it a lot. The only problem is that they do speak quite a bit of Spanish in here, and I have my audiobook up. I had it actually slower than usual. I had it like 1.5 because of the Spanish. And I speak very little Spanish, but I can decipher what most of it says when I read it versus when I listen to it, because I talk too fast. So that would have been nice to be able to like see dates and stuff, because they do all of the dates in Spanish, and then there's other little things that they do too. And it's just enough where I'm kind of wishing that I had at least had the physical book with me. But I was doing it while I was doing Amazon Flex. Which, by the way, I have a real job now. I started this week, which is why this is so incredibly late. So I'm going to have to start filming ahead instead of waiting until the last damn minute, because I have an actual schedule now. So yeah, La Hacienda was really, really good. I liked it a lot. I didn't get 4 stars. Now she's calling me. I'm going to let her sit for a second because I want to finish this off. Anyways, the books that I read, hold on, I'm hanging up for a second. Okay, so the last books that I read for this month, my rereads, were the Cinder series, which are up over here, tucked away, so I don't want to get them, so I'll just show you a picture. Yay! I read all 4 of them. I just today finished the short story collections. The first short story collection. I'm still gonna read Ferris, but I just finished Stars Above, which was really cute, but I've been so tired this week that I passed out immediately as soon as I turned the book on, so it took me forever to get through it. Which is fine, that's what it's for, is for me to listen to while I fall asleep at night, because I like getting read stories when I go to sleep. Especially stories that I love, and those ones really worked well. Now she's calling again. So, Nikki, I'm getting there. Everybody else, I love you guys lots, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.